Welcome to the Talking Health Tech podcast. My name is Peter Birch. Today, I'm at Digital Health Festival 2025, and we're at the MEDITECH booth, and I'm joined by Dr. Catherine Lambert, Director of Clinical Operations at Chris O'Brien Lifehouse, Matt McBride, Solutions Executive for MEDITECH Asia Pacific, Cailin Lowry, IT Project Manager at Chris O'Brien Lifehouse, and Doug Murray, Managing Director at MEDITECH Asia Pacific. In this episode, we discuss their collaborative approach to electronic medication management.
Hi, well, my name's Catherine Lambert. I'm the Director of Clinical Operations at the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse in Sydney. I'm a nurse by background and have worked in senior leadership at an executive level probably for the last 25 years plus. In my current role, I've seen our hospital go from an organisation in its infancy where we only just opened over just 11, 12 years ago, to an organisation now on a daily basis where we have 150 inpatients. And in addition to that inpatient clinical service, our organisation is really focused on research, on wellbeing, and on treating the whole patient as part of our holistic and comprehensive care model.
Got you. And given that the comprehensive nature of that care, historically perhaps, or I guess in the overall around the Chris O'Brien Lifehouse setup, the importance or the role of technology incorporating some of that. Sometimes technology is... sometimes a service is centered around a technology. Sometimes the technology is there to bring in it. Other times it's kind of like, well, what can we do with this to kind of retrofit in? Talk to me about how you've kind of approached technology first.
I think our vision today really does take us back to our founder's story where Professor Chris O'Brien, who was an eminent head and neck surgeon, had his own personal experience of healthcare when he was diagnosed with a brain tumour. His experience of healthcare was quite disjointed. It was very patient-driven, relocating for appointments, communication between one practitioner to another. And his vision was that patients as a whole, but in particular patients with cancer, really deserve a centre where their care is fully coordinated. And that led us down our initial journey around how do we create an environment where the work for the patient with a diagnosis is less. We can focus more on the delivery of care with the use of technologies. And I suppose our current mantra is around creating time to care by the use of innovative and leading technologies for both our patients, our clinicians, and our frontline nursing team and allied health team.
I'm Matthew McBride. I am the Solutions Executive for MEDITECH in the Asia Pacific region. And I've been working very closely with a lot of our customers, including Chris O'Brien Lifehouse in recent years.
Yeah, amazing. And
Hi, my name's Cailin Lowry. I'm the Clinical Projects Manager at Chris O'Brien Lifehouse. So I've been involved in our hospital's digital transformation over the past decade.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Cailin. Thank you, Matt, for joining me as part of this conversation. And I always love to be able to speak to the creators of technology, the innovators, those that are designing solutions, and then those that need to use the things, within the real world and how those partnerships have formed and then the outcomes of that. I think that's the best way to be able to really understand the impact and the drive and the why of what we do around healthcare and technology. So, Matt, I might start with you. Tell us a little bit more about how you've been working with Chris O'Brien and
Yeah, so our journey with Chris O'Brien started over 10 years ago. And it initially started with our PAS and billing system. But it's evolved and has gone through many different phases and projects until just recently, in recent years, we have done upgrades and now a full EMR suite of applications. And it's been really exciting and rewarding to be a part of that project and transformation and see how we've grown and how Lifehouse has grown together, through that.
Yeah, that's interesting in itself too. Sometimes you hear about here's a point solution that's implemented for a particular thing that we need to do, and now that thing is being done, and that's kind of it. But it sounds like it's progressively over time evolved.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And there's been reasons for that. And I think, Cailin could touch upon them. Yeah. But that's one of the benefits and beautiful things about the MEDITECH solution is it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to go big bang, everything at once. And I think Chris O'Brien certainly is a model for how you can do it in a more phased approach that's more sustainable and maybe more affordable or not such a heavy cost up front to the customer. So
Yeah. And Cailin, I'd love to hear a little bit from you about like how the technology then fits into the real world of what you do.
Well, it's been great. So as Matt said, we have grown and changed over time and worked with MEDITECH with emerging priorities. So we have MEDITECH across our operating theaters, our oncology treatment, our inpatient clinical documentation, and most recently we've gone live with electronic medication management with barcode medication administration. So working in a small hospital, it's been really critical to have collaborations from all levels of staff. So we have working with the frontline teams who have been involved in governing the project and validating our workflows so that what we are implementing really does add value to the frontline clinicians.
Yeah. Well, that's important. You got those clinicians that are constantly engaging with a system that, in a non-healthcare environment, we might say, you're dealing with your email system most because that's the center of truth. But I would think that you got clinicians looking at this technology for a lot of time in the day. So being able to take that feedback and iterate and grow, that's going to be super important. I can sense, here like here at Digital Health Festival or anywhere in the ecosystem, there's going to be technology providers that'll want to be able to partner with clinicians to be able to have this growth concept and build together, but often that's easier to say and harder to do. If there was like some key elements of success or like why this has been successful, what would you put it down to that's like most important from a vendor side firstly that they should be focusing on?
Well, I think one of the real benefits has been the strong team at Lifehouse, and they pushed us as a vendor. So sometimes you need that. With our recent upgrades that we've done at Lifehouse and the new versions of our software that have gone in, they've kept us honest. And when things change, sometimes it's not always for the better, or that change impacts our customers in ways that we don't anticipate. And so what I think has been good about our partnership is how transparent we've been with each other, how MEDITECH has been very flexible, capable and willing to adapt to the needs of the customer. And we'll always go the extra mile to make sure that our product is suitable and doesn't require the customer to change workflows dramatically. So there were a lot of times with this recent work that we've done with EMEDS and the upgrade where we went back and tweaked things so that they didn't have to adapt themselves to the software. The software maintained consistency and the workflow could remain consistent. And I think we always do that. We go the extra mile for our customers. It's part of what MEDITECH does. And I would like to think that Cailin and the team would agree that
we're at this particular point now, and it sounds like there's been a lot of growth through the press. What does that look like? What does it look like? What are the benefits? Like, what's the why? To go through that journey together, there's got to be an outcome, right? So what does that look like?
Well, we see using digital systems as a real enabler for better patient care. Not only does it improve the continuity and the communication between clinicians, but it does give us a wealth of data that we can use for research or quality improvement initiatives. And now we're moving on to business intelligence dashboards. So MEDITECH has been invaluable in getting us to that point in our journey.
Hey, Pete. First of all, it's good to be talking to you again. It's been a while since we've done this. I'm Douglas Murray. I'm the Managing Director for MEDITECH in the Asia Pacific and responsible for all of our activities in this region of the world.
Yes.
Predominantly focused, though, on Australia and also Singapore.
It's great to be able to chat again, Doug. And last time we spoke on the podcast, it was a brief check-in on what's been happening at MEDITECH. But as we see here at Digital Health Festival and through other channels too, there's been a fair bit happening with MEDITECH. What's been the focus and priority in the last couple of months?
Yeah, thanks, Pete. I mean, it's just amazing to see how this DHF is just going off every year. It gets bigger and better, and that, as you would have just chatted to the folk from Lifehouse, who did a bit of work with him this past 12 months, and that we upgraded them to our latest version of the Expanse platform. So they went full web oncology. They went what we call XPC, Web XPC. It's our nursing platform for them. But more importantly, they also did that meds management. And so that was a big step for us. Further to that, we focused a lot on MEDITECH as a service that we would have spoken about, and really got some good traction there. St. Vincent's went up with that, and we've managed to take them live for their facilities on our foundational platform in Victoria and also New South Wales, and we're now looking at Queensland for them. And then that also brings into play our Google Cloud platform, where that forms a fundamental part as MEDITECH as a service, where we deliver the infrastructure via Google Cloud.
One thing that in Australia, I guess anywhere in the world, we're not spoilt for choice for technology to be able to utilise within a healthcare facility. So, and it seems like there's a particular, maybe there, you tell me, is there a particular type of clinical workflow or health system or facility that would really lean into the way that MedTech works, or that should be looking at what you do? Because as we heard with previous conversations, a big part of the success of the partnership with Chris O'Brien and MEDITECH has been about, how you've worked together over the years on the journey, and they're having the flexibility to adapt and grow. What are the health systems that are really benefit from having those conversations to learn how technology can have an impact?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I think predominantly in Australia, we find, that in the private hospital network and that, in the not-for-profit and for-profit space and that, we find that that's a particular area where I think MAS is getting a lot of traction and getting a lot of interest, because it sort of allows you to sort of lay a foundational platform and then to sort of grow with it, to consume it as you need it, as opposed to, needing to take an entire EMR all in one go.
Yeah, got you. And lastly, then, for those, there's been plenty of activity that we've had to scurry out of the booth for a couple of minutes to hear at the MEDITECH booth, and there'll be plenty of conversations here at the event. What are you hoping that some of the participants, attendees, take away from the discussions with the big team here from MEDITECH at the show?
Yeah, thanks for that. I think if they can see the inroads we're sort of making with MAS and the traction we're getting there, and the fact that that's getting recognition and a lot of interest, so that would be a really positive for us. But also now that how we've actually delivered it via Google Cloud Platform, we have that up and running in Australia, and that's proving very successful. And I think, when you package that all up together into a single package, that's starting to look attractive.